Rachel, welcome to the podcast. Rachel Hutchisson is a social impact executive known for creating and scaling initiatives that build community and deliver results. Guided by authenticity and an entrepreneurial mindset, she has dedicated her career to bridging the worlds of business, nonprofits, and philanthropy. As CEO of Common Impact, she continues to champion the vital role that companies and their people play in driving meaningful social change. So, first and foremost, Rachel, how did you get started in this path?
Geez, it's easy to look at that and understand it when you look back. And as I look back, I think like my parents started me. I never would have admitted that when I was younger, but I grew up in a house with two parents who were really engaged in the world. Like we had a garden behind us that multiple people planted, so a community garden back when that like wasn't a cool thing. We recycled, and my parents served on boards, so they were always really engaged in service. I knew that they were donors. I knew that they cared about certain issues in the world enough to put their money and their time behind it. So, of course, I thought that was just like something that my parents did, and I wasn't interested in it as a kid. But as I grew up and headed out into the world, I actually kind of randomly met the founder of this amazing tech company called Blackbaud. And I'd come out of grad school. I had a master's degree in journalism. I thought I was headed into the media. Bad time for the media. Instead, I meet this guy who sponsors my soccer team. And he is the founder, an English guy who's a soccer fanatic who sponsors this team that I'm on. And it turns out that he's the founder of a small tech company. And I joined that company not knowing what I was getting into. And that company actually provided technology for nonprofits and eventually
Hmm.
foundations and also corporate CSR. And I spent 31 years there. So I kind of just grew up in this world of technology, but also technology for social impact, for social good, for mission driven things. I look back and I say, oh, wow, I understand that. But when it was happening,
Mm.
it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you have a cynical view of the world, you might think that, social impact and entrepreneurship can almost seem mutually exclusive. Like, right? One is for the greater good. Explain to me how entrepreneurship and social impact actually work hand in hand.
Okay. So I'm actually like laughing. So I'm not cynical. I'm definitely a glasses half full kind of person. And social impact is all about entrepreneurship. Like, if you want to see some of the most creative entrepreneurs, and maybe it's in a slightly different way, you look to the grassroots nonprofit world or like small business. Now, they're not necessarily experts at scaling those ideas, but they take a lot of risks because they have to. So,
Hmm.
I was in a business that learned, we were very small at the beginning. I joined when the company had 100 people. I finally retired after 31 years when there were 3,600 people. We got an outside investment, gone public. And clearly that meant that there was this whole market around us of organizations, nonprofits that needed technology support, that needed infrastructure, that are legitimate organizations. And often people don't realize that social impact and nonprofits and mission driven organizations are incredibly important, legitimate businesses on their own. I like to call them organizations instead of like for profit or nonprofit. So incredibly tied, whether you're for profit or nonprofit.
Well said. So explain to me why someone who is just value driven, has the entrepreneur and business mindset, why should they incorporate a social impact aspect to their business model?
Well, no one has to do anything, but I think that if you look at who you're employing today, it's incredibly important. So, I started in the business world in the late 1980s, early 1990s. I have two kids who are in their 20s. Very different mindset, who really are interested and worried about the climate, worried about the world, worried about international issues, very mission driven, making a conscious choice that they want that to be a part of their career trajectory. And I used to say that I graduated from college in the Gordon Gekko Greed is Good era, which is a throwback to the movie Wall Street, where, money was everything. And I love to see that people going into school and coming out of school today have a lot of paths for how to do good, which is why I
Mm,
kind of talk about this idea of good is for everyone. It's not just for, I'm going to go into the nonprofit world and do good. You can do good from lots of different places.
right.
And we actually need that in order to tackle the biggest problems in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just from a macro perspective, you can selfishly want to build a good business and also want to help other people. You can want to build a company that thrives and makes money and genuinely want to offer value to other people and
Yep.
make their life better. And from my perspective, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. And, you know, I was reading up on you in a bit, and I was speaking with one of your colleagues, or I think it was whoever recommended you to come on the show.
Yep. Yep.
And I saw a 2024 study by the Wellbeing Research Center at Oxford University
Yep.
showed that people who volunteered, uh, it was one of the few proven ways to improve well-being. And to me, I get it, but this world is difficult. It's hard enough taking care of yourself. And it does seem from the outside possibly counterintuitive that focusing on not on yourself, on everyone else around you can ironically be the best way for you to focus on yourself. And we're kind of pulling on the same thread from different angles. But it you know, it does seem like just helping other people is the most selfish way to better your own life.
I often say that you get more than you gain when you volunteer, and that's kind of like a dirty secret. It's like when I mentor people, I learn so much from those mentees. So it's this moment where you put yourself out there and you end up serving, and by serving you have this incredible give back. So I'm the CEO of Common Impact, which is a nonprofit that helps big companies, so often big companies, connect their employees to skills-based volunteerism opportunities. We kind of act as an extension of their teams and help make that happen. And people say, well, why do that? And it's like, well, because everybody wins. So the company wins because they engage their people in service. They say it's okay. In fact, we're encouraging you to push back from your computer, from your desk, and take work time to go serve. Well, why would they do that? They do that because the employees actually get a better view of their own skills when they're serving in a different capacity. They
Mm,
gain new skills. I know I did that myself. So they go out and they try skills kind of in a test environment that's less threatening to them. So they build their muscles. They end up meeting other people from their company, often when they're working in a remote or a hybrid environment. How do you meet people in the elevator anymore? So they meet people, they build connections that transfer back into the workplace, and then they also help this nonprofit beneficiary. So they end up going back to their company feeling immense pride in the company for, giving them the opportunity to do that with more skills and better connections. So the
mm,
Oxford study added like the icing on the cake. They studied 90 different interventions that had to do with wellness or well-being. And the only one that moved the needle from like apps and coaching and all of these different things, the only one that improved well-being was volunteerism. So that has to tell you it's like this extra bonus you get. You're doing it for social impact reasons. You're doing it to develop skills of your employee base. You're doing it to build pride. You're doing it to build connections. And guess what? Along the way, they get better belonging and they get better well being. And that's a huge win.
yeah, the law of reciprocation is certainly real. I wonder how you deal with people who are hesitant to move forward with this model. I can only imagine that people might agree with you on the outside or socially be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." But, deep down they're like, "Oh, I have too many things to worry about to explore this direction." And I imagine that happens from time to time. How do you navigate that?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that volunteerism falls victim to is this idea that it's just kind of like this known thing that seems kind of like known and boring. Like, well, okay, volunteerism is really that important. But the reality is, particularly skills-based volunteerism is incredibly powerful. So, what we do is we lift up the ROI examples. We talk about the studies we do that tell us incredible things like, 90% of the companies that do this work and experience decreased turnover, that 96% of the people who do this work say that it helps them with professional development. It's incredibly powerful data. You do have to what we do is we try to work with the champions within companies to help them tell the story internally because there's so many other things they're busy doing. But that's why we try to kind of take the burden off of them, act as an extension of their team, and then when we do a project and the employees come back with crazy high evaluations and say, "Oh my God, we loved this. Thank you so much. This is building pride and connection with the brand I work for." It's hard to argue with that.
Yeah. And when you know someone has a selfless side to them and you know someone is in there for the greater good, it gives you the inkling that this is the kind of person that can survive the difficult times in a company. Gives you the inkling that these because you can have talent from you can have an insane amount of talent in your company, but if there isn't heart, it makes it a little harder to go the distance. And I do wonder for those who do appeal to your message and you have someone just heading down the path of leadership and they want to make a bigger impact, where do you recommend they start?
It's important for them to understand, what their organization already does. To ask, to inquire, hey, CSR, HR, do you have programs that help me get connected to cause? It's going to help build my own leadership muscle. It's great to have internal champions. We work with everyone from an HR department, a CSR department, but sometimes business unit leaders who are really passionate about giving back and so talking to your leaders and saying, this matters to me, I care about the world. And, look at how how companies are recruiting. They're talking about their values, their pillars, their social impact, their culture. And when people are coming in because of that, if you forget to talk about that the minute that they come in the door when you have new employees, they're easily going to get disenfranchised. So, the leaders in the company should be listening to their people. And the people in the company should be not afraid to be vocal with their leaders. It's not rocket science. It's just a question of talking to each other and understanding that this is really powerful.
Where do you see yourself and your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I see Common Impact continuing to do great work. I mean, we're already working in the world of AI, and that's both how do we help employees who don't use AI tools to learn how to use them? How do we help nonprofits benefit from AI so they don't get left behind? But it's also the flip side. It's how do we make sure that we are investing in soft skills, the non-AI skills for employees in the corporate culture so that when they're ready for leadership, that they have those incredibly powerful skills that they need. So I think there's going to be an AI impact that is both AI related and completely non-AI related, if that makes sense to you. And I think in a world where there's a lot of tension and fragmentation, skills-based volunteerism is not controversial. It's something we can all keep doing that is kind of innately human. So it's kind of a bonding factor in this world. So I think it's going to become more important.
Mm. Yeah, and it seems like you work with like the big Fortune 500 companies and the smaller nonprofits. I wonder, do you see like a difference when you work with one to the other, and how do you kind of get those to work together?
Oh, of course they're different. And, nonprofits come in all different shapes and sizes, but we tend to try to work with the ones that don't have access to the same kind of resources. And so
Mhm.
we're that translation layer where we're helping the nonprofit get ready to identify their need and get ready to receive the help. Because if you just go and jump on top of them, they're not going to be ready. And then companies are busy, but CSR teams tend not to be that big. And so it's not like we're working with a massive global empire. We tend to be working with a small but mighty team within a company that wants to help do great things. So that's our expertise. It's that ability to connect the two organizations and make sure that the company benefits, the nonprofit benefits, and the employees involved also benefit.
Wonderful, Rachel. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I am easy to find on LinkedIn. I'm Rachel Hutchisson. So just find me and tag me, but they can also look at commonimpact.org.
Beautiful. Rachel, I appreciate your time and wisdom. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for having me here.